that I put a question on. If you could continue to do what you're doing and earn an extra $1,000 a month, would you be interested? I just hand those to people, the bank teller, the barber, whatever.
Wow.
I've also taken my story and put it on in letter format with my photo on it. So the recorded story that I put or send on the telephone is also on paper now. I can just hand to people.
Mm-hmm.
So working on it.
Good, good, good. Who else wants to go? We've got a lot of people on tonight, which is good. Any thing you want to report on? What activity you did?
Yeah, we never feel like we do enough. But we had a week that, let's see, what did we do? We went to an LYL event that Rick Seymour sponsored, and we had a few invites, but we didn't have anybody come. Mm-hmm. I had a customer from my other business. I was chatting with her and said we'd talked a little bit about Shackley products before. She said, I apologize. I didn't look at the catalog. I haven't had time. I said, well, that's okay. No big deal. I said, I know you're interested in the skincare, and I happen to have a whole skincare kit out in the car that I was going to deliver to somebody else if you're interested. She said, oh, I'll buy it right now. So she took the whole kit, and then I was at a restaurant that I have gone to for the last 15 or 20 years yesterday. Mm-hmm. And I was talking to my friend Miguel that owns the place, and he's the typical guy that is just getting beat to death by owning his own business. And we started talking about nutrition, and he was interested. He said, can you leave me a catalog or anything? I said, sure. I said, would you like a sample of anything? And I gave him a sample, and then we started talking about the business. And he says, can we get together and talk about this when I'm not here?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Great. Very good.
We followed up with a few other people, but I feel like the reason I'm not $1 million earner is because I'm not doing $1 million worth of work.
Okay. We're going to talk about that. Very good. Thanks, Steve. Anybody else want to comment? What happened last week?
Good evening. I had a mask and mimosas fun event. I ended up having one that ended up showing up out of 3. But she was a friend of mine who was sitting in my chair when I was doing her hair, sneezing. And she says, I take Allegra all week, and I want to not take it on the weekends to let my body rest. And then she suffered all weekend. So I said, well, would you be willing to take 10 alfalfa? And she did, and she couldn't believe it. So she's been using alfalfa. And then she started on Vital E, and I was trying to figure out a way to get her on the youth and at least try it. And Saturday, or I guess it was Thursday, I said, I'm going to have a mask and mimosa, gathering on Saturday morning. Are you interested? And she's like, do I need to wear a mask? And I said, no, I just want you to try our new masks. They're wonderful. And she said, great, what time you want me there? And so she came and she got a couple things. And she said, in 2 weeks, I'm going to buy the whole youth. So
good job.
Another part of our Shackley. So
very good. Thanks, Courtney.
Yeah.
Good. Who else wants to comment?
Andre here.
Yes, Andre.
I'm having good success in sharing the book. I'm approaching people I would never approach before.
Okay.
I went to get my oil changed on my SUV, and the young man that was looking after me, he remembered my name. I was shocked. I didn't have a name tag or anything. And he said, hi, Andre. And I went, excuse me. Anyway, we had a good talk, and you know, we talked about life and business and stuff like that, and he wanted to take the book and take a look at it. So
Excellent.
I'm following up with him this week. That was last week. Also last week, I met a gentleman. He's a millennial, and I met him at the Ajax Pickering Board of Trade. And I said, I'd really appreciate your opinion on this book. It talks about the 4-year career, you know, and we talked about what he was doing and his background and so forth. And he took the book also, and I'm meeting with him later this week also.
Good for you. Good job.
Well, I'm feeling emboldened or empowered.
Empowered. There you go.
Yeah.
That's a good word.
Yeah. Empowered to speak to people that I have never spoken or would never speak to, because I felt clumsy, you know. but this really does open the door, and we are going to be in Chicago. We've made the commitment. You know,
Good.
The Canadian dollar, to get $1 US, it's $1.37 right now.
Wow.
So, you know, that's commitment.
Yes, it is. Good.
30% more.
Good for you. I'm so glad you're going. We're going to talk about Chicago a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, we're looking forward to it. And I'm prepping too. I've got my 2-minute speech down, and I'm continue to work. I mean, I've recorded it and continue to work on it.
Good.
So
Very
I'm
good.
prepped. Yeah, ready to rock and roll. Baby.
Who else? Anybody else want to comment? What happened last week?
I'll go ahead, Roland.
Yes, please.
Last week, I actually did a new member appointment, which I have not done in a very long time with someone.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really great because she actually came here in the morning after having worked for 12 hours all night, through the night. And when she got here, she's been fighting sickness. And so I said, you know, I really love you because I'm going to go ahead and give you my very last vitamin C tab if you'll take it. And I'm not kidding. It was my last one. And she said, I trust you. I'll take it. I'll take it. And anyway, we had a really good session, and it even opened up the door to her host. She has already hosted a skincare event, and she's already using her system, loving it, and she's wanting to host just a general in-home, maybe do some type of a couples event type thing.
Wow.
And so, you know, that was a really good meeting. And then that same day, I had an individual skincare set up with someone. I had called her just the day before, someone in one of my downlines, and she said, sure, she was coming to pick up product anyway. So we did a skincare with her, and she was sharing with me, you know, she uses Mary Kay, and because her sister-in-law sells it, so she kind of felt obliged to do that. But she said, I supplement with this and that in there. And she says, you know, I have this black mask that she gave me to try. And I said, you know, that's really great because that's what we're going to be using today. So, but it's not Mary Kay, it's our youth. And and she really liked it, but it opened up the door for conversation on her husband's health, because she is a good purchaser, not a whole lot, but she's consistent.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, that's what you want, is consistency. And so we talked about that, and in this situation we're looking at setting up an in-home with her, because she had attended one about 1.5 years ago that I did, but you just don't have the opportunity to talk with people in depth in that group setting. And this time we had that opportunity. So I'm looking forward to getting that set up. We had a skincare event set for this past Sunday that ended up falling through at the last minute, but we're going to go ahead and keep pushing to get that set up. And I had another meeting with a lady to get been working with her since May, finally have it on the books. So things are happening. I've got several things on the calendar
Good.
within the next month.
Good for you. Good for you. Anyone else want to contribute?
It's Rob Sherry and Michelle Matson.
Yeah.
How are you?
Thank you for being on.
Yeah, we're excited. This past week, the topic of accountability, we put together a target list of about 50 plus people. We contacted 22 people, got 12 yeses for our, we're not going to call it an in-home because it's gotten too big. So we went and actually rented space in one of those shared offices and have a really beautiful space that we've rented. And the folks from the place really liked our story and agreed to also give us some airtime with the people in the business and the community of the network group that they have there. So we have 12 yeses for our November 15th meeting. So the Green Tribe is on a roll. And I'm really excited about it. We had joint business cards made up. We have our stories pretty set. My story, I think I told you earlier, to Michelle's story, and then introducing you. So excitement with the green.
Very good. Excellent. Great. Okay, thank you. Anyone else want to contribute? Okay, we have a number of new people on, and if you would, just please introduce yourself and say where you're from. I'm Roland Osterhaus from Nashville, Tennessee. So if everybody would have a chance to introduce yourself, that would be really good. I'll go down the list that I see right now. And Nina, would you go next? And Andre and Courtney and so on. Go ahead, Nina.
Okay, sure. I'm Nina Staple from Sheboygan, Wisconsin.
Very good. Okay, and Andre?
He's not there.
Okay, Courtney?
I'm Courtney Wiggins from Valparaiso, Indiana.
Okay, and Gary Nepper?
Gary Nepper from Snover, Michigan.
Very good. Joyce?
Joyce Altman from Lake City, Michigan.
Okay, and we have Linda Bennett.
Hi, Linda Bennett from Lakewood, Colorado.
Okay, and Marilyn?
Hi, I'm Marilyn Scher from Valparaiso, Indiana.
Okay, and the Matsons, or Michelle and Rob?
And Rob Sherry from the island of Long.
Okay, and Marion Weimer?
Hi, I'm Marion Weimer, Valparaiso, Indiana.
Okay, and Shanna?
Hi, I'm Shanna Hiss. I'm from Pennsylvania.
Okay, and Steve? Steve Bennett? Okay, and
there it goes. It finally unmuted.
Okay.
Steve Bennett, Lakewood, Colorado, right next to Linda Bennett.
Okay, and Noel, are you on?
Yes, I'm on. I'm Noel Gale from Oshawa, Ontario, Canada.
Okay, and I may have missed some people. Anybody else I've missed that's on? Okay, I think maybe I've gotten everybody. That's very good, very good. Well, I like this, people sharing ideas and what they're doing and so on. I had 9 three-way calls on health, plus 3 on the business, and a lot of, well, about 4, 5 coaching calls with people. That's what I had last week, and set up, of course, an in-home presentation. So things are really, really bubbling, but I'd like to go in a direction this evening and get your comments. I've introduced this to some other people, to the key coordinators as well. And here's the thing. We have the great products. We have a great business. We've got the perfect timing. I'm telling you, I don't know about you, but every time I turn around, I'm talking to sick people. They're all over the place. And kids are so sick. I mean, the market is huge, huge, huge. And so I'm also finding that the younger people, I think it's because they're getting out of school with a college debt and they can't get the job they thought they were going to get. And I really believe they're looking for entrepreneurship. There's a big market that's really rising up very, very fast. In fact, I have high school kids that are now wanting to get into Shackley. And so this is a huge, huge market. And here's the deal. We have been working on a lot of things. We've been talking about the communication skills. We've been talking about building in depth. We've been talking about all the fundamental things. But the fact is, people aren't growing like we should be growing if you want to grow. Now keep in mind, if we're not ready to grow, that's fine. We want to maintain our business, that's fine. But being I lived in Michigan for quite a period of time, I am very familiar what it's like getting stuck in the snow. And when you get stuck, the more you spin the tires, the deeper you go. And trying to spin it one more time is not going to get you out. One more program is not going to get you out. Sponsor one more person is not going to get you out. Sponsor 10 more people is not going to get you out. You got to get a tow truck. You're not going to get out. And for 20 years, people have been trying to get out of the rut, and they're digging in deeper and deeper and deeper. And the deeper we go in, the more fears we create. And the more doubt and the less confidence we have about building. And so we become very, very, very focused on myself. And so I've talked to a few master coordinators about this. And at this point, they readily agree with me. And I'd like to know what you're thinking. Many people come into Shackley, and once they understand it, they say, I really want to help a lot of people. I really want to help people. And that's very good, because that's the primary fundamental thing that makes this business so strong, the Shackley philosophy of making a difference. And the next thing is, after you have that understanding and that passion with that philosophy, you're going to attract a lot of people. And then you have your why. And after you have your why, then you understand the sales plan. And then you make a decision as to where you're going. Those are basically the steps. Many people have become addicted to the medicine. One more Zoom, one more book, one more whatever. I mean, many of you have been on the Altus call that we have on Wednesday. It's been going on for 10 years. And everybody on that call should be a master coordinator. To the key coordinators, I said, I've been doing this call for 2 years. All of you should be master coordinators. But when you get so stuck, you're afraid to get out and to really set something higher. So we got two things to focus on, I believe. Number one is really have a passion for why we're doing this business and to make a difference. I talked to somebody the other day who said, and I hear this so many times, and maybe you have too, and that is, well, oh man, I really want to help a lot of people, but I want to be realistic. I'm going to go to senior director, and then we'll look at things. And I said, why are you going to senior director? And they said, well, I want to be realistic. And I said, if you really want to help a lot of people, and you're talking going to senior director, then it's all about you. Because if the mission is to help a lot of other people, then titles don't matter. And it's okay when you reach a certain point in this business, you say, for right now, I'm not going to really be focusing as much on Shackley and bringing people in. I hope I've done a great job in bringing other people in so they continue getting more people in. But right now is not the right time. That's okay. But to say right off the bat, I want to help a lot of people, but I don't want to go very far in Shackley. I want to be realistic. I said, you got a contradiction. That means this whole business is about you. I talked to somebody the other day who was talking about how, well, same story. I'm overwhelmed. I don't want to do too much. Maybe become a director. But, oh, yeah, I want to help a lot of people. You got a contradiction. And I'm bringing that up to people. You've got a contradiction because it's really about you. It's about your lack of confidence. And I realize we all lack confidence. But if I really have this mission, it overrides the lack of confidence and the fear which we all have. And therefore, I go out there and I say, I'm going to do my best. And I may make mistakes, but I'm doing my best because I want to do my best for people. I meant to take a photo and have it on the screen. When I went into Costco again, I'm just blown away. They've got these big bins with bags, I don't know, probably about 50 small little candy bars in each bag. And they had, I think, 4 bins that are about eye level high, packed with hundreds and hundreds of bags in each bin of candy. And after Halloween, everybody's going to get sick and get the flu. And you're going to have somebody saying, or advertised on the TV, please send your money so we can find a cure for diabetes. Well, I tell you, what's important? The money. Follow the money. Follow the money. I mean, it's such a contradiction. It really is. And so if I have a mission, which most people will agree with the mission, we got a crisis in the United States and in Canada, sick-wise. We've got more people than ever before wanting to be entrepreneurs. The market is huge, but I've got to have a mission. I may have part of my mission that I want to help more families to be able to, so they can say one is at home taking care of the kids. Then maybe both can stay at home and take care of the kids. I don't know. I have a passion for this. Maybe my passion is stronger than what some people have, but I have a passion for that. That overrides the fear. So that is number one. We must have an incredible passion, get back to the Shackley philosophy, which people have gotten away from. And I realize, you know, the focus is sponsor 3 people in, make $300 and so on. I ignore that completely. It's so far removed from the passion that we should have in Shackley. The other thing is to get stuck out of the mud, if this is a timing, if you want to do it. And that is, we've got to focus on something bigger than getting 1 or 2 more directors. And here's what we must focus on, in my opinion, and that is wherever you are in Shackley, you raise your income $100,000. And all the Zooms that I've been doing, I have not been able to, because of where people are in their thinking, I've not been able to discuss how you build a large organization. I've talked about it, but I have not discussed it because people are talking about, okay, I know the follow-up is important, but it's all about the follow-up. It's about, oh, how do I go about saying this and this and this and that? All is important. But when we have a passion, we're going to talk different. We're going to think different. We're going to see opportunities. We're going to see opportunities. On a lot of the 3-way calls that I've done, talking to the people, I asked the upline, what did you hear? What did you hear? Did you see opportunities down the road? And no, they didn't. They were looking for PV. They didn't hear opportunities. I saw incredible opportunities down the road because I said, based on that person's comments and feelings about all this, I believe they're going to talk to the husband, and I believe the husband's going to be interested. We'll set up a 3-way call with the husband, and I believe they're going to understand this concept that I went over about holistic health, and the woman is just, oh my goodness, my goodness. I talked about the cleaning products part of holistic health. Oh my goodness, my goodness. I said, I believe she's really open and she'll talk to her husband. I see a 3-way call with the husband, and then they're going to get involved in the business, and they're on their way to becoming an executive and making beyond that and making a 6-figure income. That's what I see. And you see that if you have a passion for making a difference. If you don't have a passion for that philosophy and making a difference, then we're going to be only focusing on the immediate. We will not see the bigger opportunity. And I can go over it with somebody again and again, and they still don't see it. I see it every time I do a three-way call. I see opportunities way beyond, even on health. So it's a six-figure income. So therefore, what I want to do, and I'd like to hear your comments, from now on, these Zooms are going to be about all the strategy in making a six-figure income beyond where you are right now. That's what it's all going to be about. The first step will be figuring out by next call how many directors on your recap added to your recap to make a six-figure income. I've already figured it out. How many more directors to make a six-figure income? And in the process of doing that, everybody's going to have higher volume. People who want to join you in this cause are going to have higher volume instead of sticking around at 2,000. So the volumes are going to go up. Why? Because we're going to get people away from focusing on volume, but we're going to get people focusing on helping other people and making a difference. That goes beyond volume. So those two things, really, really getting the passion. I talked to Rob and Michelle about maybe setting up a weekly call as all these people who are going to be coming into their group. I mean, we're really casting a vision for the future because I know it's there. But we talked about maybe having a weekly call where it's all going to be stories about products. And they know next week somebody's going to be talking about their results with fibromyalgia. And so that person who has fibromyalgia may invite 5 other people, and the people who've been on the last calls will be inviting people. I think of Melky Tallberg, who built her business just on that weekly call to master coordinator in the New York area. Having the weekly call, people telling stories. All you have to do is set it up. Next week, we're going to be talking about this, plus there are going to be a few extra stories, but this is primarily the story. How are you going to get all these new people understanding the value, the philosophy, the mission, and all these different products and the value that we have? Because so many times people get somebody on one product. That's okay, but if we're really focusing on the mission, I want to do my best to help them to understand the importance of holistic health. And that means our cleaning products, that means our personal care products, that means Shackley. Now, they're not ready to start on all that, but that's part of the mission as they hear these stories of other people. Wow. So that's what I recommended with Rob and Michelle. Be ready to do that. And then as you start getting business builders, then you have a weekly call with your business builders. That could be on a Zoom. Because we must understand the dynamics of this, and that is you got to find 3 people in your group who are saying, I want to do this. You got to get 3. If you've looked at the YouTube of the guy dancing in the meadows and so on, he's doing it by himself, and pretty soon somebody else joins. You got 2 guys out there dancing in the meadows and everybody's watching them. But when you get the 3rd, within about 20 seconds after that, there are 160 people out there dancing. Most people are not ready for that kind of growth. You got to get ready for it mentally, but that's what's going to happen. Those are the things we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the importance as you're building in depth. You must get a 3rd level director down line. Not 3rd level to you, but 3rd level to your 1st level. Because the 3rd level will motivate the 2nd level who thinks now I can become a coordinator, and the 1st level is saying I can become an executive. And when you get 4 executives in your group, you're a master coordinator. When you get 3 senior executives in your group, you're a master coordinator. We're going to be talking about developing master coordinators, and you don't have to be a master coordinator to make an extra 100,000. Because we are going to have an average of higher volumes of people. And if I look at my recap, I see that people who are doing higher volumes are people who've attended or given a lot of meetings in the past. People who do low volume are recent people who came in without probably a strong mission and not really learning a lot about the Shackley products. So we're going to be talking about putting all these systems together. And once again, if you're ready for developing that larger income, and it's not talking about hey, you got to put in 5 times the amount of time. We're talking about working smart. You're going to have other people who are going to join you. And there's nothing more important than somebody saying, this is where I'm going in Shackley. You want to join me? Most people in Shackley do not say that. They say, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this. You got to be able to say, as I indicated to a key coordinator the other day, I said, you've got to be able to say to your group where you're going. And we talked about the significance of that. And so on the Zoom for her group, I tell you, it's something we must break. But she said, I'm working towards master coordinator. And my heart went to my toes. And I called her up later and I said, would you please listen to the Zoom? Because when you said it, you couldn't even look at the camera on your computer. You put your head down and said, I can just see it happen. You put your head down, you're looking like this and saying, well, I'm working towards master coordinator. Gosh, it's not the same. Do you realize how if we really, really have a mission and a focus, that will save us years of time? By saying that, that means her whole group is going to say the same doggone thing. Well, we're being realistic. We're going to work towards the next rank. And so that comment, I would dare say, cost her a year of time. A year of time working in Shackley. I tell you, when I have somebody hosting a meeting, an in-home meeting, and I go over this with them, it's so hard for people to say, this is where I'm going. What I'm really wanting to do, where I'd like to go, what I'm working towards, they have a hard time. And therefore, I'm probably only 50% productive in that meeting just because of what they said. So what does that mean? To make up for that meeting, I have to do another meeting to get to where I should have gotten with that one meeting, just because of what they said and the way they said it. Everything's going to change. So once again, these are the two things. We've got to have a mission, an incredible strong mission to make a difference. Read Dr. Shackley's book, Reflections on a Philosophy. And the second thing is, we've got to get the tow truck and get out of the mire, out of the mud, out of the snow. And to really get out, what would happen if we all focused on and said to other people, I'm going to raise my income $100,000 instead of, I'm looking to go to the next rank. We're not going to be talking rank. The rank's going to happen. We're going to be talking building organizations. I'll never forget, Richard was asking questions a lot about Shackley a number of months ago, and he asked the question of a master coordinator how much they were making. And the master coordinator said they were making so much money. His comment was, and he was serious, no, that's monthly, right? And the master coordinator said, no, it's yearly. That helped him, fortunately, unfortunately, to have much more of a mission. He's got a great mission for Shackley, believe me. But his mission is to help people what they're making every year, to make it monthly for master coordinators, anybody. He was shocked. He was so shocked. He said, really? Yeah. Oh my gosh. I mean, anyway, we've got to look at this whole thing differently. And I believe this is the way to go. I would like to get your comments or any questions that you have. Please keep in mind, I'm not trying to force anybody to do anything. Everybody has decided the timing is right, but we're talking about a 6-figure income, and everything we have on this is these Zooms is going to be related to things that you're doing that I know of that are going to be beneficial for making that 6-figure income. And you know what? You'll save so much time because you will find other people. It's going to be difficult finding other people if you say, well, the first emphasis is you can make a little extra income. You can say that after you say, I'm going to be making an extra $100,000 a year in this business. And for people who want to make less than that, they want to make 50,000 or they want to make enough to pay for their own products. That's last on the list. Most people start talking about you can make a little and you can do a little bit more and you can do a little bit more. And of course, they're pointing the finger and they never say, this is where I'm going. Can you hear how detrimental that is to the growth that we should have and how it sets us back? And we have to spend another 5 months making up for the words that we could have changed and said differently because we believe it. It can't be phony. We got to believe it. And to me, the best thing is to start believing the philosophy, and I'm going to do it. And I've got a support team. We're going to have a great support team to do this. Questions, comments? What are you thinking? Talk to me.
The question that I have, okay, I like this, that I'm going to build an extra $100,000 of income this year. Do you want to join me? Before you go into the, do you want to join me? Would you put your why in there?
I'm going to put in my passion.
Okay.
My why is not as important as the passion, because maybe my why is to get some property on the other side of town. And they can't identify with probably a lot of my whys. There may be some they can identify with, paying on the house payment or things like that. But the thing that people can identify with, boy, helping other people with this mission, because everybody's in poor health and people are worried, but they're trying to deny it. And at my in-home presentations, I bring it to the fore. And so it definitely has to be the mission. The why can add on to it. And saying that first, and this is where I'm going with the business, because I understand to make an extra 100,000 is what I'm going to say. That means I've helped a lot of kids with ADD. A lot of kids, teenagers with irritable bowel syndrome, which is now becoming prevalent, or very obvious and prevalent today. And I'm going to list a couple of things, helping a lot of people who've got fibromyalgia. That's what I'm going to be doing. And in the process of making that income, because I want them to understand that when you make the income, you've helped a lot of people. So they're not looking at it, oh, you're going for 100,000. I'll tell you why I'm going for the 100,000. It's going to support the mission that I have. And I'm looking for a team who want to join me. We're going to have so much fun. We're going to have a team that's going to work together. We're going to change things. I hope you have that passion to introduce that passion to people, but that's what I'm going to do. Other comments or questions? Because I'd really like to know what you're thinking about this. If, you know, like I said, if the timing is right, it's not right, but everything's going to change in our communication when we have that mission. Otherwise, we're just looking to do one more thing, get one more book out, which is good. But if I can look beyond that book, what would happen, Andre? You get the book out and you also tell the person your mission. When you do that, you know what happens? Many people start thinking of their relatives, they're all sick. Getting the book out is good. But along with the mission, they start thinking of other people. When I get the book out, they don't think of other people. So that's why this mission is so vitally important. Man, it's important. And we've gotten away from it in Shackley. Dr. Shackley always talked about the mission, staying in balance and harmony with nature, the golden rule, making a difference for other people. He always talked about it. And we bought into that mission. And then we had our why. And we made a decision. And we understood the sales plan. And it was in that order. But we bought into the mission. He seldom ever talked about how you move these products. Or talked about products. It was always a mission. And you're thinking all the time. Who else?
Roland?
Yes.
I guess why I feel so fortunate, this being somewhat new to me, that your guidance of making that statement up front just made it seem that I have the drive, dedication, determination, and passion that people are like, really, their jaws are dropping a little. And most of the people I've spoken to in this last week or so that know me, and they saw that spark in me, and it was exciting for them. And they said, yeah, we'd love to come to your meeting. So, you know, I know maybe some people are hearing that for the first time in this organization, this group, to say, hey, don't be embarrassed to put it right out there. You know, I'm looking to make a six-figure income over the next year. Would you like to, you know, hear about why and the passion that I have behind this?
Very good, Rob.
So I really, truly feel fortunate that this is something new to me. You know, as you know, I've been in corporate America my entire life, and you just don't go around saying something like that. You stick your money in the bank and bury it in the backyard. But for me, it was exciting to get that guidance from you. I feel very fortunate. So thank you.
Well, it's great working with you guys. Thank you for that, Rob. Very good. Who else? What are your comments? What are you thinking?
Well, I can tell you from Linda and my standpoint, we came into this business probably different than most everybody else because we came in looking to replace a mid-six-figure income. And when we got started, we knew nothing about the products. I thought they sold soap. She thought they sold vitamins. We didn't care. We were looking at the business opportunity, and I like the numbers. You know, this makes sense to me. This makes sense, much more sense than kits and ranks and all this other stuff. It just makes sense.
Very good. Very good. Thank you, Steve. Other comments, please.
Andre here. I'm going to be very transparent.
Please, thank you.
When you've been stuck in a rut for too many years and you've tried to get out of the rut, and at times I've sort of settled back into the rut and said, well, you know, we'll just keep going. But we have big dreams and goals. And we want to achieve and accomplish things. And the best way to live a long, healthy life is take your Shaklee and have dreams. And if you don't have dreams and goals and desires, you know, fold up your tent and go home. Home being heaven. So we both want to move ahead. I mean, there is no question about it. We've made the commitment to go to Chicago. We were in the 90-day blitz with Richard. We're going to make the trip to Chicago. And then after Chicago, we're heading down to Indiana to do some in-home presentations with a couple that's coming up for it. You know, I mean, the commitment there is maybe my passion needs to be realigned, or what do you see, Roland? You know, you've always told us the truth, so go for it.
You know, you're absolutely right. Realigning the passion, because we've gotten very comfortable with Shaklee. It works for us. It helps. We've heard the stories. And we're kind of blasé about it.
Right.
And therefore, we must really start thinking about some of these things that we're hearing. And I don't know how it hits you, but it really hits me when I hear these stories about kids. Like I heard one today. Well, Courtney, why don't you tell the story? We did the three-way with somebody. And why don't you tell the story of what's going on with this 15-year-old girl? Did you do that?
Yes. Yeah. We have a close friend of ours whose daughter has been suffering from horrible kidney infections. She goes from 0 to 100. She babysat. She's 15 years old. She babysat for us one night. The next day was in the hospital with 103 temperature, kidney infection, was in the hospital for a full week. So this was like the third or fourth time she has been put in the hospital for this year. And so we did she has been not very open for me. Like, I never found that good point to ask if she was ready for a 3-way call. And the other day she posted on social media, "I am so sick of doctors telling me my child is a puzzle." So I felt for me to reach out again. It was like my third kind of try. Like, I was feeling her out before, but this time I was like, this is it. She needs us. This is our mission to help everyone that needs, I mean, everyone needs us, as we know. Anyways, I called her and I said, how would you feel if I could set you up with a friend of mine who's been in the business of Shackley for 40 years, and just have a 3-way call so you can ask him whatever questions that you're feeling frustrated with. And she said, oh my goodness, I would love that. I've had it with these doctors. I'm tired of not getting answers. So today, Roland and I and my friend, we got on the call, and it blew me away, Roland, when you were asking all the questions that I always, want to ask, and I'm trying to ask. When she said, because you and I had spoke before, and you asked me, what do you think is wrong with her? And I said, immunity. I knew it was I figured it was her immunity to be able to fight off anything else. But when she said that her daughter has never had sinus infections until this year, it was like, oh my word, it's crazy. And so the last time she had went to the doctor put her on an antibiotic to whenever, like a never ending. And on that antibiotic, this 15-year-old had another kidney infection with the antibiotic. And it's the first time she said, I'm scared, Mom. What is this? This isn't going away. And so now the daughter is finally taking it a little more seriously. But so what they did was give her a stronger antibiotic on top of the antibiotic she's already taking. That was their fix. So it just breaks our heart. But, we asked about her diet, and that was huge to my friend. She said, I'm so glad he talked about nutrients instead of just, you need to take this supplement and this supplement. It's a whole lifestyle.
And pH, too.
Yeah, the alkaline.
Yeah.
But, Roland said, well, what does she eat? And my friend said, well, she thinks she can eat pizza every day. And it's just like, what?
Yeah.
And here is my friend who went clean eating from like spring till now. And they're still like, where's the chips? Where's the, it's just what they're used to. It's what they're brought up on.
And they're pretty healthy folks. I mean, her dad runs marathons. He just ran the Chicago Marathon. They ran other, races and stuff like that. So they're more inclined to be healthy, and, but kids will be kids too. So teach them the right way.
When we got off the phone with Roland, she goes, oh my gosh, I have a text from Rachel. She gets nervous every time she gets a text. She's walking on eggshells right now because it's like, when's the next scariness? We're going to be in the hospital in Chicago for another week. And her daughter's like, can I order a pizza? And she's like, no, but I like it, Roland, how you said, can I talk to her? Can I be the third party, right? So I told my friend, I said, she's 15, so you want to know that we tell her. They don't want to be blindsided. So I said, we can record the call, and it can be, the daughter knows me. She, we're close. And so I can be on the call, but, Roland can kind of guide her onto what, with all this, we keep hearing about dairy, the acid in the body and how scary it is and everything that has brought this acid in our system and how to get rid of it. So she was my girlfriend was very excited. She's like, my husband is going to love this. He's going to love that we talked about, you know, the lifestyle, not just the supplements. And she said, everything he said, go ahead and please order it for me. And so, you know, I did that tonight, and I'm very excited to hear how I talked to Martha Wilmore when she was here in April about this, you know, this whole case. But it's funny because I told her, I said, you know, I stood in line to talk to Martha, and I told her everything she said, but that didn't mean anything to my friend because she doesn't know who Martha is. So it kind of, yeah, and it's all about timing, like what Clint said. That was early on. This has been a year now. But you know what? It's wild. She said every time she gets her hair colored, a week later she gets sick. And she showed me on her calendar. She said she got her hair colored this time. This was the last 2 times. You know, so I think her body is just craving nutrients, like what Roland said. And so I'm excited to see what happens. And not only that, I had another call. Do you want me to talk about the other one, Roland?
Sure, go ahead. I love it.
I had another call. Clint and I were in California for the new directors conference, which was so amazing. And during that time, I had a text from a friend that had asked me about our oldest, who always suffered from dark circles under her eyes. And so she had heard my story, and she reached out to me, which was so funny because I had heard about her struggles probably 3 months before, and I had been praying for her and thinking, but I didn't want to just reach out to her like, we've been talking about you and I'm really worried about you. So I wasn't unsure how to do that. So anyways, she just reached out to us, which was great. And we got on, I asked her, how would you feel if I could, would you mind if I set you up with a 3-way call with my friend, or have you talk to my friend and blah, blah, blah. And she said, that would be wonderful. My schedule's really crazy, blah, blah, blah. She gave me a date. And so Roland was able to get on the call. And so we talked. So she has a son who's 2 years old, who has eczema and do you remember the other thing?
Dark circles under their eyes.
Well, dark circles, but there was something else wrong with him. Anyways, it came down to nutrients.
The daughter had
and then there was a 12-week-old who was already on acid reflux medication. And my girlfriend was just beside herself. Her youngest cries all the time. Oh, the son is doing physical therapy for everything you can imagine. So she, like, when he plays, he likes to lay down and play. So it's like, I can't remember everything, but it was just very sad. So she talked with Roland, and then I followed up with her. And then when we got home from California, I had a one-on-one with her this week also. And and I asked her, what questions do you have? How do you feel about everything? And she's like, I'm very excited. I'm ready to try, blah, blah, blah. And she asked me about the Citrus Boost, and I went over with what I knew about it. And so she placed her order. And then just the other day, I was telling Roland today that she sent me a picture. She goes, he likes the smoothie over his nuggets. And it was like him sucking down his smoothie, and he had all of his nuggets. And inside that smoothie, she had so much nutrients that he could never have gotten in one day of meals. So she's very, very hopeful. She's like, I want my husband to take alfalfa. And she's asking me about the business. And, there's always a time to draw out the triangle, the napkin presentation. It was not the time. I had papers all over me, stuff that we were going over and catalogs and stuff. And I just felt if I put one more paper down and drew out that triangle, she would be overwhelmed. And I didn't want her to feel like this was an overwhelming business. And so I drew the triangle out in my head, and she goes, how do you do this? Her and I have done hair together. She's still at the salon working 2 days a week. And I said, and I kept it very basic. And I know in the future when I speak to her, the opportunity will come up again and I can get a little more detail. So So that was amazing also.
Very, very, very good. Courtney and Clint are doing a great job. I know Clint has talked to some men in the group to find out, are they on board, not on board? And they're figuring out where to work because they are definitely going for a six-figure income, and they're doing a great job of it. But in telling that story, it's so good. And I'm thinking, wouldn't it be wonderful to have a call, say once a week, and maybe some sales leaders can get together and get their groups together to start with, to hear a story like that, and then to hear from the people that get the results.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, those things are just heartwarming. And when we have that passion in talking to this lady, of course, I congratulated her for looking into this stuff and finding out about it. But if I have this passion, it doesn't feel good, but yet I know it's right to tell them what's going to happen if something isn't changing. I said, maybe in 10 years, she's going to have cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe a kidney removed.
Yeah.
And then 20 years from now, it may be the kidney dialysis machine. I said, I'm not trying to scare you. And the mother said, well, I agree. I just, we don't want to do the drugs. They're desperate. And so I also.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I interrupted you.
No, go ahead.
I feel like these doctors are just putting a bandage over.
Guessing at this point.
Well, and they just like want to put a bandage over it, give you an antibiotic and have you be done. And she's like, this isn't getting to the root of the, I'm so sick of them telling my daughter's a puzzle. Mm-hmm. And they never once bring up vitamins or nutrition or what's your diet,
Yeah. I mean, when you hear those stories, we start realizing the market is so big. And if we have that mission and that passion, these people want to join the mission and they feel comfortable asking questions about the business. This is something that Richard has not come across with a lot of other companies that he works with because they don't have the quality products that work. We've got to remember that. He's basically all about business. We can bring people in because of our mission and our products. We've got an incredible, incredible opportunity. And so it just works very, very well together doing that. So the other thing is Chicago.
Roland.
Yes.
Can I just say something to Courtney?
Yes.
Oh.
What you told was my story.
Really?
Yes. I didn't even have to go to the doctor anymore for drugs for what we thought were bladder infections, but were kidney infections because I ended up with kidney cancer.
Wow.
Wait.
But thanks to Shackley. I mean, this was before I started in Shackley. And I just started on the basics because that's what we all did back in the day. And I still got some infections and somebody said, add alfalfa. So I took those 4 products and that was the end of them.
Oh, thank you.
Fast forward 25 years, I fell and broke some ribs and found that I had kidney cancer. And when I went to Mayo, because here they would have taken it out, but Mayo said this is a really old tumor. And it was totally encased.
Unbelievable.
So that was my story.
Wow, Nina, that's amazing.
Yeah, but it's
always in her right side, which scared me.
That's where mine is too, is on my right side.
Unbelievable.
But I went to Mayo, and because I went there and they found that mass was like totally encased, I have 90% of that kidney yet.
Wow.
Yeah. So the stuff works. I have another niece who lived in the hospital her entire life with kidney infections, as long as she was on the alfalfa.
I'm very excited for her and this is funny because this is a friend of mine that has been, she had a support Courtney, gathering at her house just because she loves me. And then she posted on Facebook about Basic H and then she kind of fell off and then she this and and finally I'm like, if she is taking an antibiotic, you need at least throw a dog, a dog a bone. She needs at least a probiotic. And then, and these people, and there's so many people that I know that are running themselves ragged. And I'm like, are you taking a vitamin? And they're like, no. That's the least you could do for yourself is take 2 tablets.
That's right.
I just want to share that.
Thank you, Nina. So in this situation, if I was just looking at volume, the mother is going to be purchasing Shackley. But when we have a mission, I said, I'd like to talk to your daughter because she's resisting everything you say, even taking the probiotic. And so I said, you can't fight with her every day on this stuff. So I will talk to her. And I said, I don't think you should be on the phone. You shouldn't listen in. And that's what happens when you're on the mission. You're going to do things that, well, I'll feel a little uncomfortable about it, trying to get her to relate to me and feel comfortable with me. It's a challenge. But I will also tell her what's ahead if she doesn't make a change. And she must have the discipline to do it and not fight her parents constantly. And so that's what happens with the mission. So, and I think you can tell when we start telling these stories, wow, it starts really getting us thinking about possibilities. But Chicago is going to be an incredible opportunity to really advance our thinking. And that's what it's all about. Everything you can do to advance your thinking. And please, any way you can, get to Chicago. Get to Chicago. It's going to be that good. So I really appreciate your comments. I would like to continue this discussion. We want to get into what it takes to add an additional 6 figures to your income that you're already getting from Shackley. And we'll be putting strategy into that. But the next step is to figure out how many directors in your organization, figure first level, second levels, whatever you want to figure, to make an additional 6 figures. That will be the assignment for next week. And we'd like to hear from more people about what your plans are and what you're looking at, because we're going to really learn from each other. And if the timing isn't right for you, that's okay. But this is where we're going, because we owe it to Shackley. We owe it to other people, because the more income you make, the more people you've helped. Okay, thanks for being on. We'll talk next week.
So one of the things.
Thank you.
Thanks, Roland.
Thank you.